starting the presentation right now. First of all, I'd like to thank you because we figured out that we had over 3,000 registrations for these days. This is an amazing number because normally we are organizing face-to-face meetings and then traveling around with a limited number of speakers. And so the situation where we all have to stay at home or in the office also has an exciting momentum that we are reaching to a much broader number of people across the world. So we'd like to thank you for your interest, and also for us it's exciting to present in such a huge number of the audience. Very shortly, the update on the OPC Foundation. The OPC Foundation is a non-profit organization. The vision is to provide a secure and reliable way to exchange data and information. This means also the meaning of the data, scaling from sensor to enterprise and beyond, but completely independent from any vendor, from any platform and any market. We are excited that openness is something what we are breathing and what is the spirit of the OPC Foundation. Specifications, once they are released, are open, available for everybody. You don't have to be a member of the OPC Foundation. Code samples are available on GitHub as open source. You don't have to be a member to make use of this sample code. Certification, even the labs are open if you are not a paying member of the OPC Foundation. So we believe this is exactly the spirit to move a technology into the market, to keep the barrier low to enter the organization. We believe that OPC Foundation is the world's largest ecosystem with toolkits, education for industrial interoperability. And we are also proud to have one of the most modern IPR policies, which is not only protecting own members, instead every OPC member signing the IPR policy is guaranteeing a non-aggressive pact also on implementers of OPC UA, which means also on non-members of the OPC Foundation. On the right side, you see that we are over 770 members worldwide, where Europe has about half of the members. And also the board of directors, we see that we have companies like Microsoft and SAP from the IT world and a lot of competence from the OT world. What is the promise of the OPC Foundation? The promise of the OPC Foundation at the end is about 3 pillars. On the left side, everything is about the OPC UA core technology. This is the base of everything. This guarantees interoperability, robustness, and security. And this is what I talked already before. We could extend with security designed from ground up and always up to date, following the new needs and requirements from the market. In the middle, we see that other associations and our partners are using OPC UA to model exactly what is a robot, what is in the process industry a pump or a motor or a sensor, and in the energy area. So they are defining the semantics. And then the OPC Foundation, also with our partners, we are also harmonizing these kind of information models. Having technology with OPC UA, having partners with data modeling, harmonization is not enough. You need on top of that validation and certification on these information models on the complete package. And this is exactly where we have a compliance test tool, which is also very open available. It has over 1,800 test scripts for both OPC UA core functionality and companion specifications. And on top of that, we also move all kind of information models once they are released automatically into our online reference, which is free of charge, accessible. And so if you want to start modeling something on your own, well, first, why not have a look in this online reference so you avoid double work and you are not starting modeling a motor or a pump because it's already there. In my presentation, I will go a little bit deeper into each of these 3 pillars. And so let's start with interoperability and the organization itself. Here you see the overall organization that America and Asia is on pretty same level. We noticed since years that Asia is growing extreme rapidly fast. So let's see what's happening in the future here. Everything what you see on about the OPC Foundation, what you like to learn, please go to our web, opcfoundation.org, and you find here with about foundation, organization, all kinds of organization documents, how we are internally working, what are the workflows, who is elected. So we are putting nearly all documents public to the web to have highest transparency. We are very proud that a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, Volkswagen joined as a corporate member. And because the question is, if everything is open, specifications open, certification, you don't have to be a paying member of the foundation. So why should we join the OPC Foundation? And Volkswagen really made a fantastic statement. As a member of the foundation, this guarantees you to have early insights about the key technologies or companion specifications, and obviously you can also influence the direction of the foundation. Right now, I'm honestly happy to not travel that much. That was too much before. But on the other hand, sometimes traveling is really fantastic because you meet people by accident and something happens and is changing a little bit the future. And this happened to myself last year, 2019. I was in Chicago at the IMTS show, and by accident I met a person from Foxconn Industrial Internet. It was Dr. Day, so best greetings here. And we talked a little bit, and just a few weeks later in July, begin July, the OPC Foundation together with Foxconn Industrial Internet made an event in Shenzhen, China, and Mr. Brent Cheng, the CEO of Foxconn Industrial Internet, made a promise that he would join the OPC Foundation, and they did. So the 699th member, that's a lucky number in China. We have been proud that Foxconn Industrial Internet has been our guest and a new member. The big question is there any announcement for this year? And I'm super excited to announce that Google Cloud has joined the OPC Foundation as a corporate member. This is a big honor for the OPC Foundation, obviously, because it exactly shows that OPC UA technology is relevant for cloud scenarios and cloud companies, and that it's scaling to the cloud. Google Cloud will offer OPC UA as a part of commitment to openness in industry collaboration. It's a very friendly statement from Mr. V, and we will hear much more from Google Cloud later on. OPC in the world, we are collaborating with a lot of associations and initiatives around the globe, in North America with SESME, China, and so on. And I will give you a very short update on the teams we have worldwide, because we started building so-called regional hubs to increase the community of industry experts. We really want to share our vision, our global vision, and we like to provide early insights also to the OPC roadmap and involve others in the world. And so we like to increase the competence around the world on OPC UA technologies. We believe that there are so many excellent people with excellent knowledge in specific markets that we like to involve them writing and helping with OPC UA companion specs for their dedicated markets. Sure, certification is a worldwide topic, and obviously research is done worldwide, and we want to act as a connecting platform here. So OPC Japan has started from begin. This is a huge team here. This is a picture from, I think, December 2018, because I see Tom Burke here, previous president of the OPC Foundation, together with Andreas Fahrt from VDMA. OPC China is doing a fantastic job. There are a lot of companies involved in the committees. They are super active with a lot of meetings, and once a year in December they make an OPC Day Japan. And also for me it was a pleasure to be there multiple times, and hopefully I will be there again soon. You can reach them under OPC Japan at opcfoundation.org. In China, we have a steering committee team, and in the middle you see TG. He's the leader of the Chinese steering committee, and the gentleman on the right is Albert Zhang. He is running OPC China from the operational part, together with the colleague Holly Lu. You can reach the colleagues with OPC China at opcfoundation.org. And critical to understand and to realize is that OPC is a Chinese national standard, and this is critically important for China 2025 initiative. In Korea, we are in contact and we have local colleagues together at the KT Institute. So Mr. Song, Dr. Song, and you can reach him under OPC Korea at opcfoundation.org. And also here it's critically important to understand OPC UA is a Korean national standard and has been announced from the government that OPC UA is a standard for essential projects of the smart factory in Korea. So very prominent. We started with a new regional hub in the ASEAN region, which is exactly all the countries you see here in Asia. And here, back of Singapore, under lead of David Cha with his colleagues, are helpfully since years organizing OPC Day Singapore, and also William did a couple of presentations and explanations fantastically, and the whole team is supporting the OPC Foundation, and now they are hosting the OPC Hub ASEAN, and you can reach them here under the email you see here. The same happens in India, this time hosted by people from Siemens. You see on the left upper area SAP. We can call him SAP, and you can reach him under OPC India. Important to understand on all these OPC hubs is these companies are just the hub or the hosting organization. Obviously, everything is super neutral. They do a fantastic neutral job. There are steering committees and operational teams, what they are now ramping up. So you will get notice on that. And if you're an OPC member in these countries, please get in contact if you want to be involved into activities. In North America, we hired Mike Clark, and that's a real pleasure to work with this gentleman. He's now the director of North America for a while for the OPC Foundation. Mike joined us in April-May timeframe. He has dedicated deep knowledge coming from the process industry. He's involved in the OPAF group. He has knowledge from his earlier jobs on Fieldbus Foundation. So you will definitely hear more from him. And in North America, we are also more and more partnering with SESMI as one of the smart manufacturing institutes. And you will hear later on that we are starting a new joint working group between SESMI and the OPC Foundation called UA for Cloud Library. Again, now you see here exactly the promise with the 3 pillars, and now I'm diving a little bit in the left marked, red marked interoperability and robustness part, and I'm just giving you some ideas what have happened this week, and I do also a couple of exciting more announcements. Number one, what we figured out this week, where colleagues made a fantastic presentation, and the lead of the security group, Randy Armstrong, exactly made the statement that the security groups has to ensure that OPCA will adapt and evolve to meet changing needs and technology. So this is always an ongoing work. It never stops. This group is never can finalize the job because there are always upcoming new challenges. For example, the upcoming ecliptic curve cryptography, which will now be involved and integrated into the OPC UA technology. But it's not only signaging and so on and encryption, it's also what you see on the left side, find secure mechanism to uniquely identify a device. And so this group is really involved into a couple of topics. We got a fantastic update from Dr. Max Walter from Siemens about the safety group. He is leading the safety group, and important to understand was that the safety solution from the OPC Foundation, OPC UA Safety, delivers functional safety for communication on all levels, which means it is not only bound to TSN and PA+FA, you can also run it today over regular OPC UA, client server, TCP communications, whatever comes as an underlying layer below, this can be, OPC UA Safety can run on top of that. So the group has a lot of topics. Version 1.0 has been completed meanwhile, and now they're continuing, but this is really a fantastic start. They could only be that quick and successfully because it has started also as a joint working group between the P&O and the OPC Foundation. And this is exactly how the OPC Foundation is working to collaborate with other partners on same nose level, and everybody is contributing technology, and then together it's a strong community. So here you see in the picture the success of the safety, why we have been able to ramp up quickly. It was exactly based on cooperation to speed up the field level communications initiative. And so today we have 2 more announcements here to do, and I'm really proud to do this. First of all, I like to give you a little bit more an overview on the field level communication architecture here. Important to understand is this new group started in November 2018 is not only for factory automation, what you see on the right side, where we made a very simplistic example with motion control on top of the FLC automation component layer, which is using PA+FA and using below Ethernet and TSN and maybe APL or single pair Ethernet. It could also be one-to-one with different focus used in the process automation area. Then you might not be interested in motion, more in instrumentation, but important to understand is that the layer below is identical, because this is exactly what end users want. They want to have a motor which is in both areas, in process and factory automation, and also a pump is sometimes used here and there, but below you want to have same interfaces for firmware update, for asset management, for power management, and all of that. And this is exactly critical to understand, that these is only guaranteed by the FLC to take care that both is working in parallel together. So to continue here and start now with motion, the OPC Foundation also partnered, and we are proud to partner and announce that we partnered with ODVA and Cercos International in the area of motion. And this is what we sent out as a press release this morning, and it's also a top story in our OPC Foundation web. The OPC Foundation started already the OPC UA Motion group. The kickoff has been held on May 18th with a good number of participants, 32 from 19 companies and organizations. But again, the story behind is we did the cooperation to speed up the field level communication initiative, backed by proven technologies from established organizations. And this is why I like to send greetings and thank you to ODVA and Cercos International here. The second announcement is that the OPC Foundation also joined the APL Project Group. APL is an advanced physical layer, and it's critically important for the OPC UA field level strategy in process automation. It is not just it is much more than just a normal TCP layer, and you can run OPC UA on top. On the right side, you see that exactly the field level communication related technical work includes a couple of topics which are really important. The first topic I already explained. We not want to run just normal regular OPC UA over Ethernet APL. We want to have a standardized information model with let's call them some basic functionality base classes, which are in this automation component. And this has to be identical both in the world of process and factory automation. And so you can read through all these topics here. We want to make sure that all these technologies, what we are building into OPC UA, can be used transparently in all kind of underlying transport layers. Could be TCP, UDP, Ethernet APL, single pair Ethernet, deterministic extension with TSN, or the future with 5G or 6G. And this is exactly the promise we gave and which we will deliver. Sure, on top of that, all kind of information models which are on the market specifically for the process industry can be integrated and can be run. And that's a lot of them, but we will have that a little bit later in the presentation. I like to make a hint here. Please download the Ethernet to the Field brochure. It's brand new. You can download this from the opcfoundation.org/APL webpage. So looking in our private life, everybody knows has a printer. The printer has standardized interfaces, could be a USB connector, could be Bluetooth, could be Wi-Fi or Ethernet cable. But even you have a standardized connector behind the curtain, there are profiles like I'm a printer, and the devices can still differentiate. And this is exactly true also for the industrial world, having different devices, but having a standardized access to devices. Via OPC UA, behind the curtain, it's important to understand the profiles, the information models. I'm an RFID reader, and still these devices can differentiate. Looking to the second pillar, exactly, we are talking now on the information models. Status today, we have about 52 initiatives with a lot of partners around the globe for the area of discrete and process automation and also energy and others. So let's look a little bit on that, what this means. Information modeling means that the OPC Foundation is providing with OPC UA the how to model data and how to transport and exchange their data in a complete end-to-end secured way. But the other colleagues from other partner associations are delivering the what and defining the semantic. So this could be a robot, could be a pump, could be something for instrumentation. This depends just on the market. So this is exactly the concept where what is a companion model, a companion specification. And there are rules how to establish a joint working group with the OPC Foundation, because a companion specification can be written by everybody in the world. This does not mean anything because then you don't have validation. There's no expert from the foundation involved. But if you want to have it as a single source of information model for a specific market, then you have to make the OPC Foundation aware of this activity. Otherwise, we don't know. And for this process, there are a couple of rules. Definitely yes. Please go to that link and you will find exactly the Excel sheet with 52 groups and their current work. And we also listed the groups and the chairmen in case you want to contact them. For example, here the OPC UA for device integration is Matthias Damm, and he will give us a talk later on. So OPC UA is available in all of these different markets. It's like the glue which keeps everything together. And it is not only factory automation. And what's a little bit misleading here is that the VDMA is listed under factory automation, but a couple of their activities are also related to process automation. For example, pumps, which are a good example for process industry. And so maybe we have to optimize this here. Giving short update, it was a pleasure for me to be begin this year in February in Orlando at the ARC Forum, which is a fantastic meeting place. I was super impressed because everybody and every organization and association who was presenting, there was one puzzle piece in common. All of them had OPC UA on their slide. And so the Open Group, the OPAF, published that last year. It's a standard of standards, and OPC UA is here selected for secure communication and interoperability. The MDIS group is oil and gas. It's located in Houston. They selected years ago already OPC UA, and this is also integrated into the compliance test tool for a long time. The PA+DIM initiative is an initiative which originally has been started as a joint working group between Fieldcom Group and OPC Foundation. Meanwhile, there are multiple more contributors, and the spec has been finalized. It's not a big spec, it's about 50 pages, but the idea is also here that you address the basics, what a lot of devices have in common. And so if you have something like the same entry point, this always helps. And definitely here, OPC UA has been chosen to address devices. And here the combination of PA+DIM with OPC UA over Ethernet APL is addressed for field devices. The NOAA, the Namur Open Architecture, is the end user association for process industry in Europe. And in their so-called Namur Open Architecture, OPC UA is mandatory, required for the implementation of this information model. And we are pretty proud on this for sure, and we will collaborate much more closer with Namur in the future. MTP is a modular type package. It is a description capability to describe modules and for equipments like pumps and pipelines and so on. So that everything is much more modular, and you have a quicker engineering time and lower engineering time. OPC UA is exactly, even this is communication agnostic. OPC UA has been selected as the first until now only communication channel. And so we are proud on this. On the right side, you see that there has been demos already and presentations from Evonik at the IRC forum together with Orca, ABB, and Vago. But OPC UA is a point for communication in the middle here. The OPEN-SCS group is an initiative for the pharmaceutical industry. It's all about packaging and serialization functionalities. I was not aware that worldwide 1 million people are dying per year because of medical components, medicine has wrong ingredients. Because people provide fake medical stuff and they want to earn money. So it was really a pleasure, and this is exactly where I'm sometimes sad to not be able to travel right now, because I met Marcel de Gruyter. It was a pleasure for me. If you like to hear and listen not about technology, what about speed and security about OPC UA? No, a completely different story. What did they solve with OPC UA? What is it for the human beings and for the world? Then I can just ask you, please listen to his podcast, which is very emotional, and you see here the URLs for that. Marcel is obviously just a representative of a huge team behind. There are multiple people worldwide from around the globe, also with professional dedicated experts like Dennis Brendel from US and so forth. Another announcement. We are proud that another new group, Spectaris, located in Germany, together with the VDMA and the OPC Foundation. So a joint working group is not a one-to-one relationship. There could be multiple associations be involved, and they agreed to start the LADS OPC UA working group. And LADS is exactly that they work on a model for analytics and laboratory equipment. This is exactly the same, just in another vertical market, where they have to fulfill a plug-and-play interoperability of lab devices among the workflow. And this is what they like to solve with their 400 members. here together with the OPC Foundation. If you like to learn more, please download the white paper here, and the call for participation will be later on, and the kickoff is in October. So I mentioned before that the VDMA is one of our critical partners in the market because there are so many activities behind, and they are not just about factory automation. We will hear later on a detailed presentation on that, and so I'm skipping it here. I just want to name two examples because they are so easy to understand. Example number one is robots. Years ago, each robot vendor had their own protocol, their own provided data, and it was really a nightmare to integrate them to the upper IT layers, to an MES or cloud system. Now, with OPC UA and the joint working group between OPC Foundation and VDMA for robots, they defined just one information model which fits all kinds of robots and motion systems in the world. And as a result, there has been made a demonstration even 2 years ago where all these kinds of robots have been shared the same interface via OPC UA and the same data with the same meaning. So connecting them to the Microsoft dashboard here took just 10 minutes, and that was fantastic to realize and to understand this story. The second, what I think is super impressive, I'm not diving into the technology here, but this is about machine vision. It's intelligent cameras, and I just like to highlight the huge involvement. 60 companies from worldwide have been involved with over 100 participants. The group decided themselves to organize and structure a little bit. They had a so-called steering committee inside. They called it a core group and a work group. And obviously everybody could decide just on how much time is available, where do I want to contribute, and how much can I help here. They were super successfully. Now their standard as a joint working group is meanwhile the world standard, also accepted by other world associations in the different regions for machine vision. So really congrats to the different teams from the VDMA. To continue a little bit, OPC UA for Auto ID is a companion spec where you can buy today from stock devices from different vendors. You see the names here on the slide, but also with different signal types. But they all have one in common: the information model is identical. This is a super dream for IT companies because you only implement once against the 5, 6, 7 API calls, and then you can talk to all of these devices identical because they share semantic identical information. What a dream. You are reducing your engineering costs and integration costs dramatically. PLC Open, that's where I'm personally the chairman, and we started this initiative in 2008 already. At that time, there have been just 1 or 2 companies with an integrated OPC UA server inside the PLC, but today, just 12 years later, I believe there's not one serious company on the world providing PLCs and having not OPC UA integrated. On the left side, you see that even a couple of companies implemented an OPC UA client based on function blocks inside the IEC 61133.13 language. What can you do with that? Well, if you have a client inside your PLC and other servers provide an OPC UA server in their PLC, then these PLC can horizontally talk to each other, even they have different field bus ecosystems below what they are controlling. So it's a horizontal communication already. It is not deterministic, but it works since a long time. And so the spec has been released in 2015. So since 5 years, you can horizontally communicate between PLCs, and you have standardized access up to IT and cloud systems. I believe this is a really good success. OPC UA, meanwhile, even grows into other areas. And we have been proud that now even industrial kitchen equipment has been modeled and is also available from stock. So on the last booth trade show, we had a frying pan here from company Küppersbusch, And there's also a podcast available, and I highly recommend to listen to that podcast because you learn so much and about customer and end customer needs. And you would immediately say, that's exactly what I've looking for years. I want to have easy plug and play standardized access with integrated security. That's it. Okay, the third pillar here on our promise for industrial interoperability is all about validating, certification, and online reference. And this is exactly where I was deeply impressed what the teams from the OPC Foundation have again been able to manage over the last time. First of all, the tool set is here. If you on the left side have companion specifications in a Word document for human beings to read, but also the noteset file for machines to be able to read and load, then we are first of all validating, are there errors inside or not? And then if everything is fine, it immediately goes into the online reference so that you can simplify reuse topics. It does not make sense to restart modeling a pump or a motor or whatever if others in the world have agreed on that already and have made the job already. The partners from the OPC Foundation to write the companion spec are hand-picked and hand-selected. We know and we guarantee that we have worldwide adoption with that. So everything like this is open and available, but the harmonization group is now taking care that different companion spec, the robot, the pump, have also harmonized interfaces for power management, for asset management, for firmware update, and so on. So the harmonization group is also taking care on asset management and also on something like scheduler. So everything which is very generic and can be reused by a couple of other companion specs. The certification team has a tool which is called the compliance test tool, CTT. And today this CTT tool allows to certify OPC UA enabled products. But the OPC Foundation is aware that somehow in the future we also have to focus on to do certification for people because we have to figure out who is able to really make good education and good advice in the market and be available as a, for example, model expert to help others in the world. There have been a lot of improvements and extensions in the certification CTT tool, but again here I'm proud to make the next announcement. And the announcement is that the OPC CTT tool has been extended to now also validate companion specifications. And right now, the PA-DIM, the PLC Open and MDIS information models have been integrated. You see a screenshot here from PA-DIM. Overall, in total, we have 1,800 test scripts, and these test scripts are responsible for covering both topics, the core functionality and companion spec. And again, it's open, available for OPC members and also for non-paying OPC members, right? And yeah, special greetings here to Elko van der Waal, the managing director of the PLC Open. He made a really friendly statement saying the CTT tool is really available in the crucial phase of the product of life cycle for development and integration. This is exactly where it has been designed for. And the team will continue improving this and creating more test scripts. And so Paul Hanke, the director of certification, and Alexander Almendinger running the certification lab did a fantastic job with all the other team members. Talking about integration, well, the benefits and one of the key drivers is definitely connecting OPC UA vertical to the IT world. And so we are proud to have Microsoft as a partner here for years, also on the board of directors. They are the largest open source contributor to the OPC Foundation, and they have 10,000 and more visitors per week. And we will later on have a presentation from Erich Barnstedt here, and he also made a fantastic podcast. So also I highly recommend to listen to that, because he's not selling you something from Microsoft Azure or something like that. He is jumping from left and right about needs of cloud, what are the customer requests, how to establish security in an end-to-end cloud way. So it's a lot of more topics. So highly recommended to listen here. Second, we have SAP on our board of directors, and Veronica on the picture here is the chairperson of the OPC board of directors. The colleague Rüdiger wrote in 2006 a white paper where he's a product manager for Pico plant connectivity, and you should really download this paper because 4 or 5 years ago he already described how SAP, the MES part, can orchestrate OPC UA enabled assets in the product field within just 10 milliseconds on a lot size 1, end-to-end secured with method calls. So it's really fantastic to see this kind of orchestration. Definitely also here, integrating a new asset like a Mettler Toledo weighing system just takes 8 minutes, and that's fantastic. And this is exactly what we like to see: reducing engineering efforts, increasing security. And third, obviously, our new corporate member, the company Google Cloud, OPC UA at Google Cloud. You see here Google's announcement on their cloud strategy and efforts for the Industry 4.0. And please go and listen to this, the new normal in manufacturing, and you will learn much more about their strategy. And I'm sure we are also learning much more about their technology, but also end customers in one of the next newsletters. So stay tuned on this. As mentioned before, don't get the impression that information modeling is just something for a device or a machine. Information model also works in the cloud. And so a little bit later on, Erich Barnstedt from Microsoft will dive into the details and explain you why he volunteered to also run this when we were looking for a partner. OPC UA information modeling cloud library is something what I'm very proud to announce here. Looking to the future, what's coming into the future? First of all, that's easy to answer, because the roadmap of the OPC Foundation, specifically on OPC UA, is public available in the web. We have listed what we have done so far in the version 1.4. There is a detailed description on what working topics we are doing right now, and also what is on our radar for the future. For example, I mentioned that in future we will extend OPC UA also on the deterministic communication layer to 5G and wireless and so on. Meanwhile, obviously, there's enough to do. We have a couple of topics. Remember, we started in November 2018, the so-called Field Level Communications Initiative. This was exactly to even go down into the field from the controller to also address all requirements from factory and process automation, which is explicitly including deterministic data transfer, functional safety, and motion control. And so you see here that as one of the first working items, number 5, the horizontally controller-to-controller communication will be worked on. So you might have 2 controllers from 2 different ecosystems, but now in future with OPC UA, and both are supporting OPC UA, you can horizontally connect, and optional, you can even switch on the deterministic data transfer in case this is required. Once this is established, obviously, you can also go vertically down from controller down to field devices. And this is exactly where the OPC Field Level Communication Initiative is doing all the basic work with the basic automation components and the basic classes that they can address whatever transport layer and underlying IT infrastructure what is available for the market. So for factory automation and deterministic real-time, this will be then TSN, but also for others, this will be Ethernet APL, what we see highly critical in the process industry. And so the combination of OPC UA defined by the field level communication group on top of Ethernet APL is something what you will hear much more in the future. Summary and what is the foundation doing? I mentioned already that security is something what always have to be involved and to meet the changing needs. So this will never end. Modeling, we will continue to start new collaborations with other partners to standardize inside, so across vendors, but inside a specific domain. Definitely the OPC Foundation is increasing the harmonization. We have a harmonization group and we are also harmonizing with other harmonization groups like the VDMA. Not by accident, the chairperson of that group has been the same person doing the job to keep both groups in super close sync here. Certification, we will continue developing more and more scripts for the core functionality, but also for companion specifications. Definitely, we have to involve others worldwide and increase that to our partners. And we also have to prepare testing for the FLC on top of TSN and safety and motion and Ethernet APL as a one-stop shop offering. And we are here already in contact to a couple of potential solutions. So also ODVA and PNO offered their help as they are aware of testing on TSN and safety. Openness. This is a call for everybody who is looking for a host organization or association, because that's exactly what the OPC Foundation is offering. As long as the initiative has something to do in relation to OPC UA, please contact us, because we can give you the legal frame, and we can you can work under the roof of the OPC Foundation, not only on OPC UA topics, also on topics beyond, on whatever harmonization for SCADA systems or whatever, or physical connectors, which is not the direction of OPC Foundation. It should have something to do with OPCA, but then exactly we have a nice spirit, because our direction is as much freedom as possible, as less control as possible. Sure, the rules of the OPC Foundation has to be followed, but there are some very basic principle rules, but in general, the OPC Foundation has a very open-minded spirit. For example, if the group decides to collect extra money because they want to hire an OPC UA expert to help on modeling, then the OPC Foundation is able to collect that extra contribution and give it to the group, and the group decides on to pay whom and how to spend the money. Sure, everything is under the rule of the IPR of the OPC Foundation, where we believe these are the best and open ones in the world. If you like to see for some information, we have an updated brochure where we integrated, obviously, Google Cloud here. Thank you very much again to Google Cloud, being very responsive here. And so this version is online now. You can download this and get the latest, greatest information, including field level communication, PA+FA security, and much more. So download that one. Follow us on our email newsletter to stay in touch. But overall, my message is the OPC Foundation, we are really feeling something like the United Nations of automation, because we are independent. And it's really the neutral ground where everybody can meet and talk to each other and synchronize on things. There's not one single company, there's not a country which can dominate the OPC Foundation, and the collaboration is key for the OPC Foundation. We have understood that not one single association is able to solve topics in today's world. You always have to collaborate with others with their expertise, and this is only where we have to work on standards together. And this kind of openness on release specifications, on open source, on certification is exactly what I believe is the best platform to do this to the future. With this, I like to thank you for listening. I'm extremely well in time. That's unusual, honestly. But I like to thank everybody for listening and hand over to the next speaker.